He's fired up.
I'm excited to be here. If you do be so kind, do me a favor, just touch somebody and say, tag, you it.
Tag you it.
Come on, you can do better than that. Those of you that are watching, go ahead, just tag the person next to you and say, tag, you're it. Yesterday when we kicked off, I talked about focus. And remember I said focus is the ability to pay attention to what's in front of you. Then, if you recall, I said the first thing you need to do to be focused is to decide what it is you want. Y'all remember that? Just wave at me. Now, today, I want to go a little deeper. Can we go a little deeper? Yes. Now, I started to talk about what road are you on? The road to nowhere, somewhere, or anywhere. But then I got to thinking about it. And I said, if you don't know what road you're on, then you missed it. And so I decided, I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so I might as well take some liberty. Y'all might have a little fun. I thought about it for a minute, and I said to myself, we've been talking about systems. We've been talking about getting away from this mindset of doing it by yourself. And it dawned on me that tag, you're it. Somebody say tag, you're it. Tag, you're it. Now, for those of you that are wondering and saying, why do you keep saying tag, you're it? It's because the word tag is an acronym, and write this down. Teams achieve greatness. Let me say it again. Teams achieve greatness. You see, a lot of times people try to do everything by themselves. Solopreneurs. You've been trying to be the CEO, the janitor, the bookkeeper, the cook, and you're trying to do everything by yourself, and you wonder why you're not getting the results that you deserve to have. Could it be that you really need a team to achieve greatness? Now, if you disagree with that and you say, well, I don't need anybody, I can do it all by myself, then this message is not for you. But if you've gotten to the place where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're tired of going from productivity to being unproductive, and yet you're not seeing the type of money, the type of income, the type of revenues, and the success that you know you deserve to see, then perhaps this message is for you. Now, you might be saying, well, why should I listen to you? Because we know you're the number one African-American expert on focus in the world. Yes, I am. But what do you know about teams? I know quite a bit about teams. You see, very few people succeed in isolation. Let me say it again. Very few people can succeed in isolation. If you look at any great athlete, even if you take, for example, the sport of boxing, even though you have two boxers in the ring, it's what's behind that success that makes them great. How many would agree with that? Just wave at me. You see, even when you step into that ring, and I happen to know a little bit about being in the ring because I am two-time collegiate kickboxing champion when I was in college. Got several designations in several forms of martial arts. And the thing about it is I had to have a team to help me become successful. I had to have a team to help me get to the next level. You see, when I first started out in the martial arts, I thought all I needed to do was watch a couple of Bruce Lee movies. Any Bruce Lee fans out there? I thought that I could just stand there and mimic, get in the right positions and everything. But then I realized that I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't until my parents invested in me taking some lessons, learning from write this down, a qualified instructor. So the first question I want you to write down is, do I have a qualified mentor or coach? Because as we talk about tag your it, teams achieve greatness. The first component is you must have a mentor or a coach. Now, why is that important? I'm glad you asked the question. You see, the purpose of a mentor and a coach is to pull out of you these potential that you didn't know you had. Come on, talk to me, somebody. You see, you may thought you were talented, and yes, you may be. But see, that coach or that mentor is there to say, yes, you did it right, but there's more in you, and my job is to pull it out of you. Somebody say, tag, you're it. Now, I am a preacher, and so I got to go to the text. In the book of Nehemiah, chapter 4, those of you that, like me, you carry your word with you, there's a familiar text in the book of Nehemiah, the Old Testament. Get out the New Testament, go on over to the Old Testament. Nehemiah, chapter 4, verse 6 said, so we built the wall, and all of it was joined together, for the people had a mind to work. And that's my second point, is that if you're going to build a successful team or be a part of a team, you must understand it requires work. Now, there's a lot of folk that think you can just show up and be talented. You can just show up and be gifted. But how many of you know that your gifting will definitely make room for you and bring you before great men and women? But guess what? You better have something to say when you stand before them. And that's the difference between someone who is talented or gifted versus someone that is skilled and trained. You see, we got to get out of this mindset that I'm gifted at speaking, but yet I'm not skilled or trained in presentation. You see, it's a difference. I'm skilled. See, my brother, my youngest brother, like Martin, he's always been dancing all his life. Now, my dad said to my little brother, like Martin, growing up, he said, boy, he said, what type of dancing are you doing? Look like you just jigabooing, doing all kind of crazy stuff. He said, well, I'm doing what they're doing on BET. You know, I'm trying to, pop and lock and do all this. And my father and my mother, being an educator, said, well, if you're going to be a dancer, then we're going to invest in some lessons. And see, when my brother went to learn how to dance, the first thing that happened, he came home crying. Because what he thought he knew, he didn't know. The teacher asked him, they said, well, show me what an arabesque is. He said, who? He was studying ballet. She said, well, show me the 4-point stands or whatever it's called, though you study ballet, I don't know. He didn't know what he was talking about. And what the instructor said to my young brother is beneficial for you today. She said, like Martin, yes, you're talented. Yes, you have the potential to be a great dancer, but you lack the skills. You lack the appropriate techniques, and you lack, and I love this, focus. Now, you see, my little brother came home crying, talking about, they talked about me and said I didn't know how to dance. You know how some of us get when someone gives us a word of discouragement. Somebody say, tag, you're it. When someone, you thought you did a great presentation, and someone said, well, it was all right, and they're looking the other way. And my mother, being an educator, said, well, did he say or did she say anything that was untrue? He thought about it. He said, no, but I tried. Write this down. Skill will beat a try every day. Skill will beat a try every day. You see, a whole lot of people would try different things. You tried multi-level marketing. You tried doing it by yourself. You tried being in relationships. You tried, but you lacked the skill and the preparation. And you see the purpose that I'm making here when we talk about tag, you're it, teams achieve greatness, is that you can only go so far by yourself. Now, what happened after my young brother Lamartin got the appropriate skills, got the appropriate training? You know what happened? He excelled to the point that Juilliard, the #1 school in performing arts, gave him a full academic scholarship. Why? Because when he showed up to the audition, he didn't rely just on his skill. He didn't rely just on his talent and his gifting. He showed up with some skill because he had been prepared through a great coach and a great mentor. So write point #1 down. You must have. It is non-negotiable, somebody said yesterday. You must have a coach. So point #1, if you're going to build a team or be part of a team in order to achieve greatness, write this down. Those of you that are watching, you must have a coach. You must have a coach. And see, the problem with a lot of people is you don't want nobody to point out your insufficiency. You don't want anyone to point out your deficits. Because, see, you've been told, say I'm great. Say I am somebody, and yes, you are great. Yes, you are somebody. But you need the skills, you need the preparation in order to achieve true greatness. Somebody say, tag, you're it. Now that leads me to point #2. And point #2 is you need to be on the right team. You see, you can have a great coach. You can have someone to pull out of you your potential. You can have someone to pull out of you your greatness. But if you're on the wrong team, you'll never achieve or realize true greatness. Now the question becomes, well, how do I discover the right team? How do I know if I'm on the right team? Let me give you 3 pointers to discover if you are on the right team. Point #1, what level of success, write this down, what level of success have they already shown? Are they proven? Are they tried? Can they take you somewhere rather than nowhere? What type of guarantees do they have? Now let me tell you something about guarantees and write this down because it's very careful. There's a difference between a guarantee and a promise. You see, I cannot guarantee that you will be successful. Why can I not guarantee that? Because I don't know if you're going to put the time in. I don't know if you're going to do what is required, but I can promise you this. I can promise you that the team will do everything we can to prepare you, to provide you with the skills, the training, the preparation that you need, or the foundation that you need to be successful. So if someone guarantees you that I guarantee that you will be a success, run. Somebody say run. Because I nor anyone can guarantee your individual success. I can only make a promise to you that I will do what I need to do to prepare you. But let me share something with you, and I found this out to be true. When I went for the championship in kickboxing in college, and the coach had did everything, my team, my sparring mates had did everything. Now, when you step into the ring, guess who can't go in the ring with you? Your coach. When you step into the fight of your life or your business, when you sitting down in front of a customer getting ready to sign that 20, 30, 50, 100,000 deal, you ain't got time to say, can you hold on to call my coach and see what to do? You better have something inside of you. You better have the words of your coach, the words of your mentor already speaking to your mind, saying this is what you need to do. Why? Because you've seen your coach. You've already practiced for it. And all you need to do is just show up and show out. And that's what they did yesterday. Didn't they just show up and show out? Because while you could tell through their presentation that they had been tried, that they were skilled, they had mastered their craft. That's point number 3. You must master your craft. You must master your craft. Remember we said, number 1, you need a what? Number 2, you need to be what? On the right team. So you have to have a team of individuals that are heading somewhere. How many of you thought you were on the right team, but you never won? Wave at maybe in high school. Maybe you thought you was in the right program, didn't do anything for you. They took your money, left you empty, or gave you a bunch of superficial nothingness. You have to be on the right team. You have to have the right mentor, the right coach, be on the right team. And then we said number 3. What was number 3? Talk to me. Say what? You must master. Let me ask you a question. How many hours does it take to master your craft? Somebody talk to me. How many hours you think to be considered an expert? 10,000. 10,000 hours of practice. And that leads me to point number 4. You must practice. You see, when I learned how to break boards and bricks, okay, if you don't practice and condition your body to withstand the impact, you will injure yourself. In business, if you do not master your craft, master your presentation, master your conversation of delivery, master your closing, master your scripts. Oh, yes, I said again, master your scripts. You will fail not just yourself, but you will fail your customers. How many of you know when someone just jiving? Now where I'm from, we call it shucking and jiving. All right? You just rapping but ain't saying nothing. How many of you know folks like that? Your lips moving, but you ain't saying nothing. And see, we got to get out of that mindset that we can just shoot from the hip. We can just wing it. You know, well, I'm quick like that. You know, I can't use a script, Shay. You know, Trevor, all this training you talking about, man, I ain't that type of guy. I'm not that type of girl. I just believe that, you know, I'm just going to feel the vibe from the audience, and then I'm just going to go with it. That'll work for so long until someone asks you a question that have done their homework. You know, having worked 27 years in human resources, I've had the opportunity to do thousands of interviews, and I can always tell, talk to me those of you that's in HR, we know this. You can always tell the candidate that was prepared for the interview and the person who just showed up. You see, the person who just showed up, they're looking around. You ask them a question, they scratching where they don't itch. They stumbling over their words. They're trying to look for, well, you know, can you repeat the question? The person that is prepared comes in with a sense of confidence. Not arrogance, but confidence. The person will sit down and say, you know, I was reading where your company did $30 million last quarter. My question is, what did you do to inspire your staff to be engaged that all of you could work together? Because I noticed last year at the same time, You were in a deficit. So I'm just curious. Oh, I like that type of candidate. Why? Because that's the person that has done his or her homework. They knew something about the company. They had great questions. Now write this down as we talk about mastering your craft. There are two important keys to mastery. Number one, the impartation of information. Number one, to master your craft, you must have an impartation of information. Number two, you must implement. Write that down. Impartation plus implementation. You see, a whole lot of folk have been imparted with a lot of information, a lot of great training, but the problem is they've never implemented anything. You see, it's sort of like the person that climbs up on the high dive. And they say, oh, I'm going to do a so-and-so type of dive. I'm going to do a swan dive. They get up there, and all of a sudden they look down and they say, woo, this is higher than what I thought. Woo, I've never done this before. Woo. And everyone else standing behind them like, dude, you going to jump or you just going to stand there and look at the water? And you see, because you've not done it, there's some resistance, there's some fear that will show up. And so part of the problem when it comes to mastering your craft is it's a whole lot easier to just get the information. It's a whole lot easier, how many would agree with me, just to sit here and take a lot of notes. It's a whole nother story when we say, now come on up here and demonstrate what you've just learned. Wait a minute. That's why when Trevor say, I need you to come up here and I need a volunteer, 90% of folks start looking the other way. You took good notes. You say, oh, I got it. I'm with you. But then when it comes time for implementation, you get scared. Fear grips you. And I'm here to tell you, when you have a great team, and you have a great coach, that coach would not allow you to sit on your potential, to sit on the impartation that you have received. The job of the coach is to say, go and try it again. Somebody say, tag you it. The purpose of a great team is to say, come on, y'all. I know we down. I know they whooped us in the first half, but it ain't over yet. So we're going to get together. Listen, matter of fact, we're going to change up the play. We're going to do what we need to do because together we can achieve greatness. As a team, we can achieve greatness. Individually, yes, we can have some success, but all of us can rejoice in the fact that we did it together. And that leads me to point number 4. And let's review real quick. Number 1, we say you must have a what? A coach. Number 2, you must be on the right what? Team. You must master your craft, which is a combination of impartation and implementation. Impartation and implementation. Number 4, when it comes to teams achieve greatness, you must all, and y'all already know I'm going to put up here, you got to have a focus. Shay, yes, sir. What happens if you have a great coach, a great mentor? You're on a great team, you've mastered your coach, but you got 15 people with 15 different focus, and none of them head in the same direction. What will happen? Nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. Write this down. A confused mind seldom or rarely buys. A confused mind seldom or rarely will buy. Write this down. A confused team will never accomplish greatness. You might be good. You might be okay. You may even be average. But until you have a focus, they were all moving in the right direction. Now, if I go back to the text, It said that they achieved the building of the wall because the people had a mindset to work together. In other words, they had a focus. Now, Brother Green said that you not only have to have a vision, but he quoted from Habakkuk 2:2 and said you must write it down and make it plain. The question is, do you have a plain, a simple, and easy to identify focus or vision? Do you have a vision for your team? Now I want to switch and talk to coaches out there. I want to switch and talk to mentors out there. Yes, you have a team. Yes, you have a mentor. But my question for you, coach, mentor, are you pushing your team? Or are you just comfortable? Are you satisfied with where your team is at? Or do you look, where can I challenge them at? You see, great leadership is all about not being satisfied where you're at. Don't come talking about what we did yesteryear, because that's already in the past. I want to know, and Brother Green said this so eloquently, what are you doing in the next 90 days? What will you accomplish? And I want to, if I can piggyback on that, somebody say tag you it. Tag you it. I want to know, what are you going to do in the next 7 minutes? You see, 90 days is too far out for many of you. You'll forget about it. Write down, what are you going to do with the impartation of the information you receive? Because I'm sick and tired of seeing folks talking about it, but never being about it. I'm sick and tired of seeing folks talking about their dreams, but never making the dream a reality. And I've come to push you today. I've come to slap some of you and say, get it done. No longer can we stand here and just look cute, smile, and be comfortable. Somebody need to get mad. Somebody need to get mad to the point that you say, you will not stay where you're at. Get on up. What's wrong with you? Shake yourself. God had put greatness in you and you sitting there feeling pity for yourself. Slap yourself and say, get it together. You see, sometimes you need to be slapped with the stick of reality. And this is my final point, and then I'm going to close. We talked about having a great coach or mentor. We talked about having a team. We talked about mastering your craft with implementation plus impartation. We talked about having a sense of focus, not an individual focus, but a team focus that's going somewhere. And the final point, and then I'm done, is this. When you have a sense of focus, the next thing you need in order to achieve greatness is just do it. And I'm done. God bless.